get started. I would like to introduce KYZEN's own Chelsea Jewell.
Thanks, Chelsea, and thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm Chelsea Jewell, and I run the application lab here at KYZEN headquarters. And today we're going to talk about metal cleaning process control, and more specifically, which method is right for you. Let's get going. First and foremost, what do we mean by process control? So with this, we simply mean the practice of monitoring physical properties of the cleaning solution. This can include concentration, conductivity, pH, and NVR, which is non-volatile residue, and we'll get into more of that later. It's also important when we're talking about monitoring systems to include the rinse for aqueous systems. All right, so why should you monitor your process? First and foremost, just to maintain the level of cleaning that you expect and have qualified in your process. Determining the end of bath life is important. Ensuring that your cleaning equipment is operating properly, making sure your filtration and everything is operating ensures the overall cleaning process is healthy also. Then, it will also help troubleshooting failures that you see within the manufacturing process. We like to say that chemistry isn't selective. It's not going to affect one part when it's washed differently than the other, unless there's a core difference between them. So a lot of times, if you know your cleaning process is well maintained, you start to see issues, you can start to trace that back through your manufacturing process and kind of see where that issue could be arising. And then, so let's get into types of control methods. So first and foremost, we have titrations and pH that we use. And I know everybody hears the titration word and, flashes back to chemistry labs and, ooh, scary. But titrations, in their basic form are not that scary. So we like to use, just a simple indicator solution, and we have kits and everything set up for these as well. You can also use the pH probe for some of this as well. Next, we have our refractive index. So this is measuring the solid contents of a solution on a brick scale, and you can have both the manual and the digital types of refractometers. Then next we have our non-volatile residues, or NVR. What this machine does is our moisture analyzer will measure, you put a solution in there from your bath, and it cooks off all of the volatiles within the solution and leaves you with a measured quantity of your non-volatiles. And this can correlate to concentration, it can correlate to soil loading, and a couple other aspects. Then we have conductivity, which is similar with our probe system as the pH monitoring. So now that we have our soils, our methods, let's add soils into the mix. So if you have coolants, oils, greases, and lubricants, which are really common for the metal industry, we like to say, the conductivity is most likely going to be your best method because, these soils coming in can affect your pH and also the refractive index because you're pulling solids into solution. If you're working with direct carbon, such as, remanufacturing applications or just high heat process methods, pulling those into solution will also increase your refractive index. Then next we have oxidation. So if you're removing oxidation, you're actually pulling those metal oxides into solution, and that can start to affect your conductivity as well. So more specific process control, we like to divide this out kind of by pH. So with our alkaline solutions, we recommend conductivity. This is because most of the soils that are going in solution, like we talked about, are not going to affect this method. So we have a conductivity value that will correlate directly to concentration charts. The only thing that conductivity can vary with a little bit is whether you're using deionized water or tap water. And depending on knowing that going in, we have different charts that can tell you what the concentration is with that. Next, we get into our neutral-based chemistries. So for these, depending on what you're cleaning off of your parts, we'll recommend either titration or conductivity. And then next we get into our acid type products. because, as we talked about, we're pulling most of the acids that are pulling metal oxides into solution, that can affect our conductivity. So looking at that, we like to recommend titrations for those to determine the concentration. We get into vacuum degreasing. So most of the time we recommend running our acid stabilizer kit. And as soils build up in the solutions or the solvents for vacuum degreasers, if you're running chlorinated solvents, oftentimes they can start to turn the bath acid. And as a way of monitoring this, we have our stabilizer kit. And the results of this test will tell you if you need to add any booster or an extra solution to help neutralize everything out. Then for measuring soil loading and the concentration, if you're running a corrosion preventative, we like to recommend NVR. Running a soil analysis on it will give you an idea of how well your distillation system is operating or if you need further distillation with that. Then we go to vapor degreasing. So for typical vapor degreasing solvents, you don't have an issue with them going acid or reactions like that. They're pretty well balanced. What we do recommend is a moisture content measurement. So if you're getting condensation that's built up in the condensing coils and it's transferring over down into the bath, and things aren't going out through your water separator, you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on that. And then because it is a closed system, most of your soil should end up in the boil sump. And as that builds up, we'd like to take an NVR just to determine how much has built up in there. If you start to see that your rinse sump is either cloudy or discolored, isn't clear anymore, you can't see the bottom, that may be a sign that you've loaded up the boil sump and you need to start working on cleaning that chemistry out. So in summary, we really recommend matching your control method to the process and the chemistry. Knowing what soil is going into your process and how it could affect your concentration method, will help keep everything well balanced and within your specs. And then, developing a routine, knowing that you're checking this concentration, whether it's, daily or weekly, depending on your process, can really help troubleshoot any issues that arise and help keep the overall process very healthy. So with that, I'd like to open it up for questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Chelsea. If you would like to discuss this topic further, please contact your local KYZEN representative or send an email to tech@kyzen.com, and we will have one of our cleaning experts schedule follow-up with you as soon as possible. Again, we thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you again soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great day.